We are heading into overtime on 1620 The Zone. Shock the system. Welcome to the After Hours Lounge on 1620 The Zone, the 1620 The Zone app, and 1620thezone.com. When 6A to 6P isn't enough, the boys have you covered. Here's Jimmy Allen
and John Schreiner.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome inside the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu. You can register for winter classes. You can keep up to date on all things Bellevue Athletics by downloading the BU Bruins app on your smartphone tonight as well. We got a loaded show for you, but it's going to be a good one. Speaking of the Bruins, their head soccer coach on the women's side of things, Tom White, will be in studio with a few of his players breaking down their 1-0 start in their fall season. Single-digit jerseys have been handed out in Lincoln. Who got them? Who didn't? Who deserved them? We'll talk about that at 6:30. We will be buying or selling on starting quarterbacks around college football. Spoiler alert. Doesn't have anything to do with people in Lincoln.
Sell them all.
Speaking of single digits, who will, won't, should get those same single digits a year from now in Lincoln? John, Dan, and I will let you know. We continue our trek around the Metro to interview every football team in the city. And Paul Lamanji and the defending Class A state champions West Side will be in studio as well. We're going to talk to our friend Derek Richards from Cunningham's Pub here in a minute. He's going to bring a few of the folks from Cross Strain Brewery in to talk about what's going on with their tap takeovers, etc. They're usually here on a Wednesday. They're going to be here tonight because there's a conflict with the schedule tomorrow. But speaking of schedules and conflicts, the number of return kicks past the 40 in preseason football is up almost double where it was a year ago. We haven't seen a kick return for a touchdown in the NFL in the preseason just yet. And when we talk about expectations for this season, it has been over 11 years since there have been double-digit touchdowns, kick return for touchdowns in the NFL.
Well, they nuked the kickoff.
Right, by getting rid of the wedge.
And by moving it up so you can kick it out of the back of the end zone every time. And
do you expect there to be over 10 kickoff returns for touchdowns this season with the way
more
it's been
than
set up?
10?
Yes.
Ooh. I mean, there are a lot of games in the NFL schedule.
Famously.
It's a lot of games. 32 teams times 17 games. I'm going to say
carry the one.
I'm going to say, yeah. I think because it's a new thing and the way to defend it probably hasn't been fully actualized yet. I'm going to say yes.
I'm still going to go under. And here's why. Because, and I know it's the preseason. The guys that are out there during the preseason aren't going to be the guys that are out there for the majority of the regular season. But there have been so many hiccups and issues with guys moving before the kick. And it's going to be a steep learning curve. With that being said, I think we're probably going to see the number from this year, maybe even double next year because of that microphone is on, Dan, because of the way the rules are going to set up and how people are going to be ready to adjust to it.
I kind of think about it differently. I think the way to defend it will evolve over the season. So I think there might be more long returns and touchdowns early in the year with it being a new thing, just because like you got a real fast guy who can find the seam and you're not fully like realized on how to defend it yet. You might find
change your scheme up. Sure.
Yeah. You don't have your scheme nailed down completely on how to defend this new kickoff return. I think I kind of go the other way. I think it might be more early on this year, and then next year it might slow down a little bit.
Speaking of adaptation, somebody that is always willing to adapt to the market is Cross Strain Brewery, that does a ton of great stuff with 1890 and a bunch of different local stuff. And Doug from Cross Strain joins us now in studio with our friend Derek Richards from Cunningham's Pub. Doug, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
I feel like anytime I see you, it's usually in the studio, so it's good to see you again.
That it is. Jimmy, good seeing you.
We've got a couple of new items, correct?
I got some new stuff. Yeah, of course, I always got to bring the Cornhead. That's always fun.
Sure. Shout out to Matt Davison.
That's right. Darn Skippy. We got the Bernstein this go around. So this is our Vienna lager. So this is our version of basically Yingling. So it's a local, better version of Yingling. Nice. That's how we sell it.
I'm down for it.
Take that, Northeast.
I can definitely say that.
Yeah.
I can definitely say that. I mean, you can get
it's opinionated.
You can't get it in the state yet, but it's getting close. But whatever. And then I brought a really nice Kolsch that we've done, and then a Pilsner.
Okay.
Which is fantastic that we did. Our Oktoberfest isn't quite ready yet. One more week, so maybe I'll bring some by later on for you guys. And once it's ready,
you guys have an official Tap Takeover event coming up at Cunningham's. Can you guys kind of tell us a little bit about what's going to happen on September 5th and what people can expect?
Yeah, it's been going ridiculously well. It's been going on for a whole month. We've had the Wednesday.
Yeah, the Beer Olympics.
Yeah, the Beer Olympics was fantastic, which Cross Train won. Of course, we did.
This
nice.
This was not rigged. This is not. They won by 2 points. So it was a very close competition, and the only thing that saved you guys was the trivia.
That's right. We know our trivia.
Well, do you remember the game-winning question? Was it that close where we could pinpoint the moment it happened?
It wasn't close.
Oh, okay.
You guys won that one by double of the next team. It was not even close.
It was. They gave you Olympic mascots from the past 50 years. And some of them were easy. Like some of them was like the Calgary 72 game. I think it was Calgary 72. Like it had a Canadian flag on it. So okay, like I can get that one. But some of them were like two mascots. And you're like, I have no idea.
You remember Izzy from 96, the like blue thing with the rings on its tail?
That was one of them. Yeah, that was one of them.
There was a couple of younger teams that looked at that like it was. They're like,
because there hasn't been a mascot for a long time.
Yeah.
Olympics, they were just blown away.
The Soccer World Cup does a mascot still, so I would be good on those.
Doug, about
they do. Every World Cup has a mascot.
You'll know this time, especially when it's in the States. Doug, back to the cans for a second. I mean, your guys' logos and designs of the cans are second to none in my opinion. Not even just locally, but I mean even nationally. Who does the design for the cans?
Yeah, so most of it's actually done internally. We kind of get together as a team, and then we send it out to a marketing. We started to use a little bit of grain and mortar. Like we give them either an idea, or we'd be like, this is kind of what we're looking for, or we've had ones. So historically, we're actually going through a big new redesign of all the cans and stuff like that. And we're trying to do some things a little more simplistic, but a lot of that stuff, like we just did internally, get the idea. Grain and mortar kind of helped us out. We'll like fine tweak it. But it's just a bunch of us sitting around for a couple hours, having some beers and be like, what should we call this? And what should the logo look like?
Sure.
It's fun.
You guys,
it's the science of beer.
It's in your guys' mission statement, a passion for beer, right? Has there been a discussion about venturing out into liquor or any other type of alcohol outside of beer?
Our main head brewer, Bobby, he's talked about it, but I don't think that's something he ever really wants to go down. That's a totally different ball of wax, and
sure
how that goes about and the timing and how much more. I mean, like we do a lot of barrel aged beers, and some of them are getting up there in 3+ years now, but some of those things with the good stuff takes a long time. And
sure. And you guys haven't been there yet.
Correct.
Yeah. What do you think? What's the motivator behind that? Because I agree. I see more and more of that with the vodkas in particular.
Yeah, you're seeing, especially with the younger generations, like we're starting to see that with like they're just drinking less beer. And they're drinking more of what they're called RTDs, ready to drink. So the canned cocktails have become ridiculously popular.
The seltzer stuff.
The seltzers have been, and some of those are grain based, but a lot of those normally are vodka or more popular now. The tequila ones are starting to pop up there everywhere.
Sure.
But that's where the younger base that we see is kind of really going more toward that. And some of that is health conscious too. They see like those seltzers and they think, it is a little better for you, but that's where some of the market is going, and we're looking at, no stone unturned. Like maybe we will do some of those things. Like, no,
I'm not trying to put the horse before the cart here.
No, I know, but I don't want to give like how like some of that behind the scenes works. But some of those people, like the national brands, like they'll literally just buy ethanol, and then they just water it down. Like that's how that's a little behind the scenes baseball there for.
And there's a lot of ebb and flow with everything.
True.
I mean, everything kind of goes up and down, and it's cyclical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, beers. I mean, we're seeing an uptick in beer sales. So, I mean, it's good to see people get back into it.
My father-in-law is texting me right now currently about the Yuengling-esque beer because they travel to Florida very often. He said that he will be the judge of that. So
a lot of people.
He's currently on his way to cross train as we speak.
There we go. And I think this is the best batch we've ever done of it too. So.
Wow. Okay. And it is called again one more time?
Bernstein.
Okay.
Can I try one on air?
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
That?
Yeah.
Can we
it's not necessarily a one beer Friday, but you have at it.
It's
you need an ID?
Derek for I mean, anybody that's you talk about your love for craft beer as often as anybody I've ever met in my life. If we're talking about just cross train specifically, do you have a favorite cross train beer?
Well, I'm old school. I still remember when they came out. It was the London variant,
correct?
Which was the double dry hop.
Yep.
Fairy Nectar. And I remember the first time I drank because they had Fairy Nectar and then they did the London variant.
Yeah.
And I remember drinking the London and I was like, this is a winner. Like they should run with this beer.
Yeah.
And that was, I think I told you guys, that was when it went from like, it's a good IPA for Nebraska. And it was just like, this is a stellar IPA.
Sure.
So I'm still partial. I still like the Fairy Nectar.
Doug, for you, if we take the core four out, the Fairy Nectar, the Hills Creek, the Hot as Hells, and the Fairy Nectar DDH, if we take those out, you have a favorite beer?
Big fan of the Tan Limes. We're kind of out of that season right now, but I'm a huge fan of the Tan Limes. That's kind of been my favorite. But what we've seen an uptick too is going back to like the traditional beers, and this is probably outside of that, the Pilsner. So it's old school Czech style. Like we actually use a yeast from like over there. We changed it up a little bit ago, and it's fantastic.
Are these all for us?
These all for you guys. Yeah, right for you guys.
We'll throw a couple in the cooler for our friends from USC.
Yeah, and then I'll bring our Oktoberfest that we do. We actually do it the traditional way. We actually barrel age it. We put it in our coolers for about 6 months, and we use whiskey and red wine barrels. So that takes a little bit of time. Traditionally, you put it in a cave and it would sit there and just mature like over that time. And so like we're trying to bring some of that old tradition back. So that's how actually we make our Oktoberfest is we brew it back in March, and then February, March-ish timeframe, whenever we can fit it in the schedule, we leave it in our coolers and then we bring it out. And so that's why it's taking a little bit longer for us, because it wasn't quite ready yet, and it's getting ready finally now.
So for me personally, I kind of live in the porter stout realm. And so about this weather right now that we have today, like we're getting into prime porter stout and John's favorite Scotch season now, right? So talk to me about porters and stouts. Why are they more difficult to make, and why are there so many bad ones out there?
Yeah, there are some
shots fired.
That is shots fired. I understand that. A lot of it is because the malts and stuff that you have to use different. You can't use just like a dark malt. It has to be a combination of several different. You can't use just straight chocolate. Like you need other types of malts in there. And then it's a long boil process. Like when we go to do like our big barrel aged beers and stuff like that, when we're going to put them in the barrel, we'll boil our beer for like 12, 16 hours. So you lose a ton of it. And so like you need a lot of thickness to it. And some people aren't that patient with it. So it takes time. It takes time and good ingredients. Like if you don't buy the good enough ingredients, you're just not going to get that great beer out there.
It's like good barbecue. You can't like rush it.
No.
You got to take your time with it. If you screw it up, well, you just got to eat bad barbecue. I mean, that's where some of the bad stouts are like, well, and we spent a lot of time on this.
Time and money.
We're just going to sell it anyway.
Well, you guys clearly can't stand each other and have a horrible relationship. So what's coming up next with Cunningham's and Cross Train? What can people expect?
Well, so tomorrow we've got the finale.
Yes.
So hopefully Doug's going to be with me in Blackstone hanging out. And we're doing the giveaway at 7 o'clock. So we've got canvases to give away at both stores. So
which are really cool, by the way.
If you want,
when I was in the old mill, you were showing us some of those canvases. Those are very cool.
It's fun, honestly. And
are these Derek Richards exclusives?
They are. They're 1 of 1 and 2 of 2. So if you want like a one of 2 item, come in tomorrow and get a chance.
Can anybody that hasn't participated in the Tap Takeovers participate tomorrow for the first time?
If you can drink 3 beers.
Oh,
but from the time you get off of work,
the bar has been set, literally and figuratively.
Grab some amazing wings. Blueberry Sriracha is my favorite.
Yeah, that's ours too.
We talk about them all the time.
Fans.
We got a bunch of weird guys. I love it. Let's get weird here.
That is our friends Doug and Derek from Cross Train and Cunningham's, respectively. If you missed their opening segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620 or wherever you may find your podcast. That it was brought to you by our friends at Cunningham's. It is a Tuesday, but if you want to participate in Wing and Whiskey Wednesday tomorrow, all you got to do is follow us, follow our friends at Cunningham's on social media, retweet and share the GIF of the wings. We're going to enter you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Cunningham's. Maybe you can bring it to participate in the Tap Takeovers tomorrow. We'll be right back. Catching up with the Bellevue University women's soccer team here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everybody, John Schreiner here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. If you're looking over your closet right now and the depth chart's looking a little thin, you're not sure who the starter is going to be on game day, football Saturday just around the corner, you need some new Nebraska gear, you need to get yourself to Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, 78th and Dodge. They've got all the great brands, Peter Millar, Johnny O, Mizzen and Maine, Cutter and Buck, all the colors you want, and they got those little Nebraska ends embroidered on the chest. You're going to love it. It's going to fit great. It's going to be easy to wear, easy to take care of. You don't have to worry about taking it to the dry cleaner. No, you just throw it in the wash, throw it in the dryer. It's all good to go, and it's great. It's going to last you a long time. The best in suit fitting as well. 78th and Dodge. Get down there. Tell them we sent you. They're going to love you. They're going to treat you right, and you are going to look better than you ever have before. It's Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Been dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Mainly cloudy and mild this evening with the temperatures in the lower 70s and maybe an isolated shower over into Iowa. Mostly cloudy tonight. We'll drop back in the mid-60s for a low, and then mostly cloudy, turning partly sunny on Wednesday, high in the lower 80s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
You can get a great craft beer pretty much anywhere these days. But what about the whole package? Dining out, service, and atmosphere? Come to Cunningham's Pub and Grill, home of Omaha's original smoked wings, now with 2 locations. We're bringing back Sundays at our Old Mill location this fall, where you can catch all the sports while enjoying quality food and drinks. Find your flavor and follow us online for unique daily specials and fun craft beer events. Cunningham's Pub and Grill in Old Mill and now Blackstone.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
After Hours has been telling you for a while now that all you have to do is stop by 402 Barbecue and mention the show. And 402 Barbecue will give you a free soda with purchase. But did you know you can actually get the 402 Barbecue truck to come to you? That's right. The best barbecue in Omaha can be at your business or event. To find out when and where to get some real deal home cooking, lip smacking barbecue, call 402-618-8274 and reserve Omaha's best food truck today.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
6:20 on a Tuesday night here at 1620 The Zone, brought to you by our friends at Bellevue University. If you're looking to keep up to date on all things Bellevue athletics, Download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. Joining us in studio, speaking of those Bruins, the head coach of the women's soccer program, Tom White, has joined us in studio with Morgan McElhinney and Lauren Chetty. Guys, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Coach, for you, an impressive run a year ago. Between September and October, you only dropped the one game. You made the run in Georgia late in the season as well. How do you sum up 2023?
Disappointing, if I'm being honest, because the year before, obviously, we won it. So, yeah, we expected to go and win it again and go on to nationals, especially with the group of ladies and talent we had. So, yeah, it was a disappointing one, obviously, after having such a good record during the year and receiving votes all year.
Sure.
The athletic programs at Bellevue have grown so much over the years from what it used to be to where it is today. Just can you talk about the level of support you're getting at the NAI level at Bellevue University versus some of the other places, some of your opponents probably?
Probably just I think Bellevue's very unique because of the community, especially within Omaha as well. And it stems all from the president, and trickles down throughout every program, and we all kind of love each other very much so within program to program. And obviously the girls go to a lot of the other sports games and vice versa. And that probably stemmed even when I was a player. Like, we wouldn't miss a basketball game and we'd sing our heads off and just support each other through it. And as you can see, virtually all the programs are very successucable and have a strong history of winning a lot of games.
Which coach do you dislike the most?
Marquise Preston.
Coach,
that was fast.
Did you need a minute to think about it?
No, he's a men's coach, so I've known him a while, obviously.
You know what? He was supposed to be here yesterday. He's dead to us, too. So
yeah. Lazy.
They will be here next week, though, just a heads up for everybody wondering. Coach, you guys are off to a 1-0 start this season. You don't leave Omaha, or at least the Omaha area, until September. You don't even leave the state of Nebraska until September 12th. Is that a net positive in your mind?
Massively. I think that was a big factor for us last year. We traveled so much. I can't remember how many states we went to in amount of days, but the time we got to Georgia, I think we could say as an excuse, but there was a definitely little burnout factor in there because the month before we went to Florida.
Yeah.
A few weeks later, then we traveled to Georgia. So that definitely took its toll.
Not exactly a quick flight from Omaha.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Yeah.
So it's good that we've got a lot of home games this year.
Looking up and down your roster, you've got players from Ecuador, Portugal, England. You got a Hawaiian player, Italy. How are you attracting these players from overseas to come to Bellevue, Nebraska to play soccer?
Just talking about the program and how kind of professional we try to make it for the ladies. That's a big thing of how organized we are. And if they want to come to a program where it's near to the professional game as possible, and obviously it's took years and years for me and Amy Tilley, especially to bring in the characters and that culture word. But to get to that point is great because the girls come in and they're very friendly and that's a big recruiting tool for us. Is the players we've got now. Obviously, I've got 2 seniors with me now. They kind of let the tradition live on of like, this is how we do stuff in Bellevue. And they're like, yeah, I want to go there.
You guys are staying in the Continental Conference, correct?
For this year.
Yeah. So the rest of the school is making the move to the Frontier Conference. You guys are staying put. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Does that make it kind of confusing on the recruiting trail?
So obviously we get a lot of questions there because we go, well, what conference you're in? And we're like, well, we're not, well, we are in one, but
ish.
But end of the day, we kind of spin it to, hey, we get to go to Georgia every year in November.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Which is different to going to North or South Dakota,
right?
North Star or whatever it is. So every program up and down the country have their problems or challenges. So it's okay, you just make the best of it and just get on with it.
The women's game has seen such an uptick in the amount of professional leagues around the world and participation and just eyeballs and attention. Have you seen that bleed over into the level of talent that you're seeing on not only their roster, but in your opponents' rosters as well?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
I think this is the best talent we've ever had this year at Bellevue, and I'm in my 6th year for sure. And it's great to see, obviously, the game just growing and growing and growing, especially even in our home country in England. Like, it was kind of a second
English?
thought. Australian. And but seeing it grow even more now, like just, I'll say down the road, but KC Current, obviously they've sailed on their stadium, and that's right next to the river, and that looks fantastic there. And
why do you think we've seen the explosion in women's soccer that we have? I mean, obviously it's more than just one thing, but I mean, if you had to pick a handful of things,
because they don't flop around.
That's a good. That's a good point. It's always been popular here. Obviously, I think it helps with the national team. But I think when you see superstars, obviously, within the US team like Trinity Rodman, and obviously in the past with Rapinoe and all that, and just look at Caitlin Clark, what she's doing in women's basketball, right? So anyone like at that level is going to influence young ladies to want to go and play soccer and to be the next whoever it is.
If we're talking about, obviously you mentioned your experience this year and you brought 2 seniors with this, but as far as some of the young players, do you have any young players that you're excited about this year that maybe are either stepping on the pitch for the first time for Bellevue or have been here before but just haven't gotten their shine yet?
Yeah, I think that kind of pinpointed on Saturday with one of our freshmen getting player of the match. More fantastic, and another one scored the game winner with Ali Castle from Westside. So they're all going to impact the season. Came off the bench as well on Saturday, was fantastic and really giving us as a staff a good headache moving forward.
Well, let's talk to a couple of the seniors that you brought with you. Morgan McNally is joining us in studio. Morgan, for you, when we talk about being second team all conference a year ago, how do you follow that up and cap off as a senior?
Just working my hardest and cherishing every minute. Doing it not only for myself, but the girls next to me that have been here and the new ones.
And Coach talked about continuing that culture, the friendliness, and the way that you do things at Bellevue. What does that mean to you? What is the way you do things at Bellevue?
Probably the way that it feels like if we're doing a passing drill, you could be with anyone. It doesn't feel like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. We're all a team. Like Tom said, the culture. The culture is probably one of the biggest things. We dig deep, we have fun, we work hard, and do it for each other.
It's a little different for you. You're a Millard North grad. You're from here. What does it mean to you to be able to continue your athletic career, not only at the next level, but do it basically in your backyard?
It's definitely one of my favorite things. A lot of my family members are able to come out and watch me, my parents, my grandpa. So it really makes me happy. And Bellevue could not be a better fit for me. So.
This is your last year in college. Have you thought about what's next? Or, is the game going to be part of your life going forward?
So I'll actually be starting my master's this fall at Bellevue.
Okay.
Congrats.
Thank you. In the clinical mental health counseling program. And I'm also a soccer coach, so I'll continue that. And probably just do summer leagues and stuff like that, but nothing too crazy.
Right on.
As far as the season goes, what is something defensively you guys thought you did well in your first match just a few days ago? It's obviously a shutout, so things went well defensively for a lot of reasons. What are some things that you think that you guys need to work on as the season goes?
Okay, I think what we did well, we stay compact. Once we lost that ball, we work hard to get it back. I think one of the main challenges we'll have this season is we have so much talent. It's just kind of gelling together since we do have so many new players. So just learning, like we kind of said, the Bellevue way and how to do it. What the teams are scared of.
Sure. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for being here. Now we'll go over to Lauren Chetty, who joins us in studio as well. Lauren, you obviously took a unique route to getting, as Coach said it. You're a native of England as well, but you took the JUCO route first before you got to Bellevue. Can you tell us how much different the game is taking it from England to the JUCO route at Iowa Central and now here to Bellevue? How the game is just different at those levels?
I think for me, the decision to go to JUCO was mainly because I wanted to get that experience under my belt. Of course, the college game is very different to at home. I think coming to the US is a bit of a culture shock in terms of the way the game is played. I think there's a lot of fitness aspect into the game. I think at home it's more technically based. Okay. So I think there's a change in that sense. So yeah, for me, the most important thing going to JUCO was to get the experience and to almost propel me on for 4 years.
So what was your biggest culture shock moment moving to the US?
Outside of soccer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, so many things. The weather is a massive one. Of course.
It's pretty hot here.
Yeah, it gets hot, but it also gets very cold.
Yes. Famously.
So yeah, the winters were pretty brutal my first year. Not sure I was quite expecting it. I'd say the food, even obviously driving on the side of the road.
Yep.
There's so many different things. Yeah, different side of the car, whole thing.
Before you committed to either Iowa Central or Bellevue University, could you have picked Iowa or Nebraska out on a map?
That's a great question. I don't think I could have.
Okay.
Honestly. I don't think my knowledge of the states was that bad coming into it, but Iowa and Nebraska probably would have pushed it slightly.
Well, I don't think I could point at Aldershot on a map either.
I was gonna say,
but I do know
that would be
Aldershot Town.
Okay,
I do know
okay,
Aldershot
the
Town.
team,
I know that.
yeah, for sure.
Did you follow them?
I didn't know.
No.
So I grew up in the military. So my dad was in the military. So we moved around a lot. So we've only been settled in Aldershot for like the last 5 years of my life. So I haven't followed them. I'm a Chelsea follower.
Oh. All right.
Not sure if that's going to go down well.
Okay. I got you. All right. Here we go.
Not sure if that's going to go
All right.
down
This
well.
just changed a little bit.
Stick to the script.
Okay. So Enzo Maresca, is he going to get it done for Chelsea?
We're going to go down
Here
this
we
route.
You brought it up, not me.
I know,
all right. No, just being in this program now as a senior, talk about some of the leadership aspects that you're trying to bring to the younger group.
I think it's just showing the work both on and off the field. Of course, it's, as we've all said the word culture.
Yeah.
It's showing what we are as Bellevue. It's working for each other, loving each other, being there for each other no matter what happens. And I think it's just showing up every day and really, really, truly pushing yourself.
I hope you know he was dead serious about asking you that question. It was very sad that you didn't follow up. But, when we talk about your impact a year ago, obviously getting caught up to the game a little bit as well. Well, how do you expect to make a bigger impact on the field this year than your sparing time a year ago?
I think this year it's going to be emotional. So there's a lot of aspects of that. Obviously, being my last year in the States, I think it's just trying to find the grind and pushing as much as I can. And I think obviously having something to prove, it's gonna help me, and obviously working with everyone else around me as well and having that support is going to be massive.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. What are your plans after you graduate from Bellevue?
I'll be going back home, so I'll be returning back home, but I'll likely be going to grad school back home as well. So doing my master's. I'm currently majoring in psychology. So something along those lines. Yeah.
Net positive to go back?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
100%. It's going to be a lot of mixed emotions because I've had the time of my life out here, and it's been one of the best experiences anyone could have ever had. So, but I'm also looking forward to be back home by friends and family, of course.
Well, good luck this fall, and thank you for
so
being here
much.
tonight.
Thank
Coach,
you.
we'll go back over to you to wrap this up. You guys got some votes in the preseason top 25, but your name not on that poll. Should it have been?
No comment. I think we're right on that cusp. I think there's probably a few games last season. We lost to Hastings with a minute to go last year, and myself and Jade, the head coach there at Hastings, was like, whoever wins that game makes the top 25 and just stays in there. So me and Jade, like this year, were like, how about we don't play each other because we're going to cancel each other out? And I went, that's pretty smart of you.
Yeah,
I'll listen to you.
How has this been? Has this been bulletin board material over the last week in the locker room?
No, we don't really talk about that. We just take each game as it comes, really, and focus on that next game and the next opponent and what we must do to go and win that game. So we've got some good, tasty affairs this year coming up. So it's going to be an exciting one.
Okay, so back to Enzo Maresca for a minute.
Not wasting the time on Chelsea.
No, just the things that you're excited about, especially with this group of seniors for the season.
I think, especially this group of seniors, I think it would be good to go back and go and win it again with conference, because especially for Morgan, who's been there for 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah,
this will be her 5th year. So we've gone through a lot of up and downs, a lot of emotional. Me and Morgan have done a lot of crying, happy and sad tears. So hopefully we're at that field at the end of the season and we're hugging each other with some happy tears.
Sure. That is the head soccer coach for the women's program at Bellevue University, Tom White. If you missed the Bruins segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620, wherever you may find your podcast at. It was brought to you by 402 Barbecue. You can stop by 84th and Spring Monday through Saturday. Try mine and John's personal favorite. It's the Cadillac. It's brisket. It's pork. It's topped off with their world-famous smoked mac and cheese. Make sure you mention Kelly and the team. You heard about them on After Hours. She's going to throw in a free soda with a purchase and the mention of our show. We'll be right back talking about single-digit numbers in Lincoln here on 1620 Zone.
Bring them out, 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 bring them out.
Hey, everyone, it's Jimmy Allen here for Bob Williams with Williams Law. If you got after a little bit too hard this summer and you're facing a DUI, you know it's dangerous, it's expensive. It's really just not worth it. But if you or someone you know is facing a DUI charge, you can call 402-522-6317 or head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com to get yourself a no-obligation free legal consultation. Bob and his team will walk you through the process and explain your rights. Again, it's 402-522-6317 or Williams Law LLC to book LLC.com to book that no obligation free legal consultation tonight. .638 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you want to keep up to date on all things Bellevue Athletics, download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. There are unwritten rules to radio, and one of them is if you want to change the topic of whatever the discussion is on Sports Talk Radio, all you have to do is what our next caller is doing, and it's Random Mike who joins us to change the topic we're talking about. Mike, what do you got for us tonight?
I like that. Hey, I got to tell you, I really enjoyed that interview with the soccer folks at Bellevue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tom's a great guy. Their program's really good, too.
Yeah, tell me, I'm seriously thinking of maybe catching a game. Are there games online at all?
You can catch them at BUBruins.com as well as they play at the Papillion Landing, too. So I don't know if you're familiar with where that is, but it's free to get in also.
And the girls were very impressive, too.
Yeah.
The first one from Millard North. What'd she say her study was going to be in her master's?
Clinical psychology.
Yep.
So they're both into psychology.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You don't go to school for 6 years by accident.
Some people do.
That's true. That's a good point.
The other reason I'm calling is I don't know if I've ever been so optimistic about all the sports coming up at Nebraska, at least the ones that draw attention. I mean, I think football. This could be, again, who knows? But the upside could be really big, and also volleyball, of course, and the basketballs, men and women. I'm especially excited about the women's basketball. If everybody's healthy.
I think they're going to be really good this year.
I mean, and these 5 stars, Britt Prince.
Yeah.
Wow. it's kind of interesting. She's coming when Caitlin Clark is leaving.
I'll tell you this, and Britt works out at Going Vertical, where I have my podcast studio, and you're not going to find somebody more dedicated to gym time than her. She is coming. She's working out in Lincoln as well as traveling up to Omaha to get extra sessions into. She is 100% a gym rat, and I promise you this. Yes, she's a 5-star. She's got all the accolades that came in with it, 4 straight state championships. Nobody is going to outwork her, and if they try to, she's just going to up her game. That's one thing you're not going to have to worry about with her.
Jimmy, I'm glad to hear that, and just please stay healthy.
Yeah,
and I'm a big Widener fan too. I mean, these are legends, and they're saying that about Dylan Raiola. That guy's working as hard as anybody.
Yeah, and that's not by accident with him, by the way. I mean, that's his family letting him know that you're there on a business trip. Let's get these 3 years knocked out, and let's think long term here.
Yeah. So, hey, one thing about Husker volleyball, we know they'll be good. But,
spoiler alert.
But again, losing to Texas, of course, not good. But the Texas assistant coach, Eric Sullivan, was here for years. Do you know much about him?
I mean, with the coaching tree John Cook has had, that's just going to become more and more happenstance of a coach at a big time program just happens to have sat next to John Cook for a couple of years, and that's going to be becoming more and more prevalent with just the way he's grown and his coaching tree and how far his reach goes.
But they've had these transfers from Nebraska that have been pretty significant parts of their championships.
Yeah.
And guess who they got now? Somebody that John Cook said was, and John Cook said this a few years ago, that this was the most talented girl he's ever had. I'm talking about Whitney Lowenstein.
Whitney Lowenstein, yeah. Listen, this, and I know a lot of people have kind of like, if there's been one negative connotation around Coach Cook, it's the players that he's let leave, right, or quote unquote let leave. But I mean, that's just the way of college athletics right now. And I think just because it doesn't happen as much at the women's level, that people kind of shine a light on it and say, well, if there must be a hole in the armor here. And this is just the way that business is done in college athletics now.
But here's the other thing about Nebraska volleyball, that program is so insanely competitive. And John Cook has set it up this way that everything is a competition. And
that's very true.
Not everybody can survive in that atmosphere. There are just some people who may be insanely talented athletes, but cannot live with an everyday grind of competition. It's just not their personality, and it's not right, wrong, or indifferent. Like, that's just how it is.
John, you're absolutely right. You both are, and the fact is, most people leave for playing time, but some leave for other reasons.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, John. And no, I'm not implying that this is a bad thing. That it's just that Texas have. We got Lexi Sun, who was the top player in the country, and I don't know if we won a championship with her. Did we?
No.
Yeah, and she actually lost her job later on.
Yep.
But most of them leave for playing time. And Whitney, she's obviously had her issues, and I was kind of shocked that I didn't think she was going to play anymore. But he did say, in terms of raw talent, in terms of how hard she could hit the ball and how she could move, that he's never. Do you remember him saying that he's never had a player that talented?
I believe he said. I think he said athletic. I don't know if he said talented. I was trying to look that up while we were talking. I can't find the direct quote, but I believe he said this athletic, not this talented.
Yeah, you're right. He might have said that. But in terms of how hard she could hit it and how she can move, and that's talent. But it was kind of raw. He made it clear that it was raw. But yeah, this could be the year for all those sports. I mean, do you agree that the top end of how good it can be?
Mike, I have a question for you because we debated this last week. We debated what was more likely to happen over the next 5 years: a College World Series appearance, a college football playoff appearance, or Hoiberg and the men's team winning an NCAA tournament game. Which of those three do you think is more likely to happen in the next 5 years?
I like that. No, a tournament game. Don't you think?
That's what I said. That was my answer. John did not agree.
That's a low bar. That is a low bar.
Unless you're at Nebraska, then it's never happened before.
Mike, we as always, we appreciate you listening and calling in. We greatly appreciate it. Have a great night.
You got it. Enjoy the show.
Thank you. And that's Random Mike, one of the top 5, top 3 callers.
He's a 1620 the zone.
All of 1620 the zone. Lord.
He's a legend.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
We call him P1 listeners.
That's right.
He's like a P0. That guy's a legend.
Listen, speaking of zero. That number was handed out in Lincoln today, along with 9 other single-digit jerseys, and they win as listed. Nash Hutmacher obviously gets the number 0 again this year. Jamar Butler at 1, Isaac Gifford with 2, obviously the same as last year. Marquise Buford, who was 1 a year ago and is currently listed as the number 3. Jamal Banks at 4, John Bullock 5, Tommy Hill 6, Malcolm Hartzog, which is really interesting, at 7, Deshaun Singleton at 8, and Ty Robinson at 9. And we've seen guys be handed these jerseys and then later change their jersey number back to whatever their double digit may be, like obviously for Jamal Banks to wear 80 instead of who, by the way, is the only offensive player on this list to wear 4. But all of them currently are listed on Huskers.com with these numbers next to them. Yeah. I don't know if we're going to see these numbers switch out.
I don't think so. I think Matt Rule's made this such an honor to be able to get one of these, and it's a vote. It's like who the team and the coaches think deserve it.
It's a badge of honor for sure.
So yeah, I think this is sort of like a new black shirt tradition almost.
I agreed.
It's such an honor that I don't think anyone wants to give up their single digit jersey, right?
Question for the two of you.
All right.
Because this is a vote and because this is something that is such an honor, got any problems with anyone who's on this list?
I have a problem that the only person on the offensive side of the ball was Jamal Banks. With that being said, maybe Thomas Fidone. I don't know who else would have been worthy of this this discussion this year, because it's clearly not going to be a freshman or a newcomer. Well, I say that, but Jamal Banks is a newcomer.
But like, you're not giving Ben Scott a single digit number.
Yeah, and that's the only guy that I thought, other than either Banks or Nayor, that it could have been.
Do you want your center to wear number 3?
Yeah,
honestly.
To be honest,
kind of
a little bit. It makes for a great visual.
Yeah,
but
considering that he's in a 3-tech the entire game.
But Ben Scott's not that
legally has to be
lead by your vocal point type leader. So, and that's kind of what this is supposed to be. The guys that you turn to for vocalized and play by example leadership.
Are you surprised at all that Dylan Raiola is not one of these?
Yeah, not at all. I thought there was less than 0%. They're never going to give it to a freshman. Yeah. This coaching staff is just never going to do that.
I agree. I was not that surprised.
Yeah. I would have loved.
He's not even the starter yet.
Yeah. Nobody is.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Dylan Raiola be one of the single digits. Just for like the minute they released the photo, put out the press release, just to watch my Twitter page just go, I'm on fire, baby.
Matt Rule had the chance to do the funniest thing ever and just troll Nebraska fans and then roll out the single digit numbers and include all 3 quarterbacks.
Woof.
Yeah, it would have been really funny. I mean, obviously he wouldn't have done it in a serious manner, but the internet would have caught on fire between Council Bluffs and Denver, Colorado.
The picture that they put out of all of them standing there in a row.
Yeah.
Ty Robinson is an
look
absolute
at those bookends. You don't think they did that on purpose? I mean, those Nash and Ty are just massive human beings.
Good.
The first thing that I was drawn to in that picture is I looked at the 2 bookends and I looked at their calves.
It's hard to miss them.
And I was like, holy mackerel.
Yeah, there's going to be some size up front for Nebraska on the defensive tackle.
Yeah, I would love to just do like one blocking drill against Nash Hutmacher, mainly because that's all I could take.
See if you still got it.
I want to see if I still got it and just get thrown like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Give me the pads, give me the jersey for one day, Matt. I just want to get chucked 50 yards into the future. A lot of other
connotations around that.
You kind of raised your eyebrows at Malcolm Hartzog. What's the comment there?
No, it's the fact that we didn't. It's the starting quarterback situation. Right? We've speculated for weeks and months about who was going to lock down that other.
It's going to be Marquise Buford,
other cornerback spot, but I think this tells you that they feel really comfortable rotating those guys in and out. And when you're talking about a 3-3-5, that those 2 guys, Marquise Buford and Malcolm Hartzog, are both probably going to be on the field at the same time.
Yeah, and I think Hartzog's going to play safety.
The way John Butler has kind of discussed the way they're rotating these guys in, it kind of feels like we're going to see a version of like college basketball on the football field, where it's going to be positionless and everybody's going to know the understanding about what they're supposed to do when they're in certain positions, and they're going to try to match up with the opposition as opposed to saying roll out there at this position.
I think your 3 safeties are going to be Gifford, Hartzog, and Singleton. And Buford's going to start the year as the corner opposite Tommy Hill. That's how I think it's going to play out. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how it looks to me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be situational. But when you talk about rolling the ball out against UTEP in the first set, I 100% agree.
Malcolm Hartzog could be that Phelan Sanford type player this year who just kind of flies around the field and doesn't have a lot of responsibilities except blowing things up.
I just question his size a little bit in that
role.
Well,
Phelan Sanford wasn't very big either.
But I was just about to say, but the caveat to that is it's not like they had a monster out there a year ago either. Hey, that was the single digit breakdown. If you missed it, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friend Amber Best with Berkshire Hathaway. Listen, if you're looking for your forever home, we found it for you. Our friend Amber Best at amberbest.com has a quaint townhome out in Fremont, Nebraska that oversees Fremont Lakes. The view is second to none. Check it out. It's 2206 Aaron Way in Fremont. It could be your forever home tonight. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Check it out at Amber Best. That's BESS.com tonight. We'll be right back finding out what's trending on social media here on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Forsman's Finest Decks. Maybe your neighbor across the street just painted their siding, or maybe the person behind you has a nice light string up on their patio and their deck looks immaculate. Blow them out of the water this fall by heading over to forsmansfinest.com. Have Travis and the crew come build you a deck, put a cover on it, add that something that your house has been missing. Head over to forsmansfinest.com and have your dream deck built this fall. Forsman's Finest Decks, building the finest decks in Omaha.
Almost here. First one of the year. Nearly time. The band is officially set. That is our first Hail Varsity of the year.
We just let it play. We got a break. That's all we need. End of the show, folks. Despite the alma mater playing, we are brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu. Register for fall or winter classes today. As Dan and John just alluded to, we are 11 days away. We're almost single digits away from the start of.
It's the final Tuesday without college football.
We're at Ty Robinson plus an Isaac Gifford away from college football.
Double down.
You lost it.
You can't follow it up. I mean,
no.
Where do you go from here? Dan, you set the bar way too high. A guy that is all too familiar with that fight song is the head football coach at the University of Nebraska. His name is Matt Rhule, who apparently has got a pretty good ship game as well, too, Dan. Do we have the social media soundbite ready to go?
Yes, we do.
Fire away. So that is obviously the head football coach himself in the recent Chasing 3 docuseries, where he was trying to drive a chip over the crossbar, and if he did it, the team didn't have to run. But if you can listen to the noise in the background there, this team is humming in one direction. Like, everybody was all in for the bit.
It's Seven Nation Army.
They were very much rooting for Matt Rhule to make this chip as much as he was. And you've got to love the competitive vibe that the head coach gave off at the end of that clip. He does not like to lose.
No.
So if you know nothing about this program and seeing this clip, and you want to know why Nebraska is going to be able to turn this around with this head coach and this group of guys, that is almost enough to get me to buy all the way in. Just that clip alone.
Yeah, it feels different, doesn't it? It feels
night and day.
It doesn't feel like when Matt Rhule steps to the podium, and I've been saying this for a while, it feels like actual confidence and not bluster.
Agreed.
It feels like truth and not wishful thinking.
Well, I think a lot of that is outside of Jeff Sims a year ago. It didn't feel like anything was that bad. Like, there was nothing really where you said,
well, the defense was certainly way better.
Right. And I think it helps that he's got his fingerprints on that side of the ball. But you can look at the athlete on the offense and say, ooh, that looks different than what we've had.
But let's taking the glass half full approach.
Sure.
Right? You had an absolute unmitigated disaster at quarterback last year. You had injuries at running back that should have been debilitating. You had injuries at wide receiver that nearly were debilitating.
Yeah. I don't think the word nearly was needed there.
And they still came within a whisker of being bowl eligible.
Right.
Like, in the glass half full approach, that was a pretty magnificent coaching job.
When you looked at the stuff that was going wrong in the one-score losses with the Frost stuff, it was we were punting the ball to the wrong side of the field. Like, it was glaring issues. Like, 90% of the job was being done well, but the 10% that wasn't was just like unexcusable in my opinion. When we talk about the 10% a year ago, it feels like, and granted, it's got to be put together on Saturdays in the fall, but it feels like that should be able to be buttoned up rather quickly.
Like, legitimately, Nebraska could have been an 8-win team a year ago.
Probably should have been. You're talking about 5 wins before the month of November. Yeah. They had to lose 4 in a row to not be bowl eligible
with that offense. Like,
yeah,
I think we underestimate just like how close they were to being inexplicably an 8-win team. Like, that close, very close in the first year of a new staff.
That is why I have said that I don't believe 10. I've been back and forth, but I don't believe 10-2 is outside of the realm of possibilities.
I'm not there.
I think it's a big leap, obviously, and it's going out on a limb, absolutely. But when you look at that, when you look at the shortcomings a year ago and how improved this team should be, if healthy, from what they were a year ago, you could piece together 5 more wins a year ago if you had to. Like, if you could look at and say, if you have what you have this season a year ago in place there, they probably win 10 games. And this year's schedule's easier.
I'm still at 7-5.
which wouldn't. I'm just at the point where neither one of those things would surprise me. Neither one of those things or anything in between would surprise me.
Yeah.
Hey, if you missed the social media soundbite tonight, check it out, SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Pixel Fire Marketing. Are you the decision maker in your company? If you are, Google your business right now. Do you like what you see? Are you seeing the reviews you feel like you've earned as a company? If not, you need to work with Courtney and Dan at Pixel Fire Marketing. They will build your Google business profile to reflect the actual work you've put in as a business. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. We'll be right back, buying or selling on the other side of the break here on 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. Are you dealing with some plumbing issues, but looking at the bank account and you're just not in a place where you can fix your problems permanently? Head over to axpservice.com tonight, where they have financing available. Nick and his crew are willing to work with you to help you get your problem fixed financially safe as well. Head over to axpservice.com and book an appointment with Nick and his team today. Even if you're a current or former military member, there's a discount for you as well. Check out axpservice.com tonight. Top of the second hour inside the After Hours Lounge on a Tuesday night. Brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. 13 consecutive years voted in the top category for the best roofer in Omaha. Check out pyramidroof.com to book yourself a free estimate today. It's time for Buy or Sell. Dan Campinen has got these questions for us.
Yes, I do. We talked last night about Tua's thoughts on Brian Flores. Flores, now the DC for the Vikings, has said he is very happy for the success that Tua has had. Flores went on to say he wants to be a positive influence on his players. Buy or sell, this is backpedaling by the Vikings DC.
Hammer. Buy, hammer, double down. He is starting to be a little bit exposed for some of the things that he said in Miami and is trying to save face a little bit. But with that being said, I think this is the right approach. And maybe, listen, people change, and maybe he's turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, he's absolutely backpedaling, so that's a buy. If indeed he said those things to Tua, which he didn't deny saying,
never did
in this statement, he didn't say like, "Oh, he's exaggerating what I said." Like he didn't come out and say that. So he obviously probably said those things, and I don't know. Maybe he should have just come out and said, "Yeah, I think he still sucks."
Yeah, that dude's garbage. That would have been amazing.
Tua who?
Yeah,
yeah,
the kid from Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Dan.
Both Sam Levitt and Brandon Lewis have been named the starters at Arizona State and Nevada, respectively, starting over Chubba Purdy and Jeff Sims at each school. Buy or sell either of these former two Husker signal callers will start a game at their current school.
Buy. Listen, it's college football. Things are going to go wrong. I think Chubba probably would have won, and stop me if you've heard this before. Chubba probably would have won the starting job if he was healthy, but he is banged up again. I expect him to be the starter at Nevada by the end of the season. Jeff Sims, on the other hand, I
think we know what Jeff Sims is.
I don't know. I don't know how you can look at yourself in the mirror and go, we can trust this guy to go out there. And I hate saying that because I hate poo-pooing on anybody that's had some struggles.
Listen,
but that's just the realistic part of the situation.
Lest I break my arm patting myself on the back, I told everyone who would ask and who would listen that Jeff Sims was not going to be the guy at Nebraska. The cake was already baked. We knew the player that he was. Mm-hmm. He's a turnover machine. It's not going to go well. And lo and behold, it did not go well. Like,
is your arm okay?
It's fine now.
Okay, thanks.
I've reduced the strain. But look, he's going to be a decent guy to have in your quarterback room, I think,
because he's got a ton
of experience. Yeah. He certainly knows how to bounce back from failure, right?
Well,
like he can be a positive influence on another quarterback. I think he seems like every report we got was he's a great teammate. He's a good guy to be around. So
Matt Rule decided to take him, knowing what he knew about him. Decided to take him to Indianapolis last year and be the leader of his team.
He seems like a great guy to have on your team. He's just not the answer at quarterback. And I agree with you. I think Chubba probably starts a game at some point for Nevada.
Dan?
Chubba will start. Jeff Sims is going to be singing Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by the end of the season.
Do you think we see him move to wide receiver?
Sims?
Yes.
No.
If he wants to continue playing football, I think it should be evident to him that doing it at the quarterback position.
Do a Luke McCaffrey?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's definitely athletic enough to give it a shot. I don't know if he's good enough to just convert and naturally just be that guy, but
yeah, I don't know how he is at catching a ball.
Yeah, it just
not great if the shotgun snaps are any indication.
That's a great point, but I mean, can it be worse? I mean, he doesn't touch the ball in every play.
Yeah, I don't know,
Dan.
Speaking of starting quarterbacks, Maddox Madsen,
which is his real name.
Yeah, what a name, by the way.
That's a football player, folks.
Has been named the starter at Boise State over the #1 overall prospect, Malachi Nelson, who transferred to the Blue Turf from USC. Buy or sell, Nelson will ever live up to his preconceived hype.
I'm selling, and not because I don't think he could be a good quarterback or a good player, but we're talking about the #1 overall prospect, and you've now gone to 2 schools, one of which is a group of 5 school, and you couldn't win the starting job the day one when you walked in the door. When you're that level of recruit, if you're not able to do that, you've already not lived up to the hype. With that being said, I think he can still have a successful career at Boise State if he's willing to put in the work and be the teammate that he needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, you start asking the question, right? Like, okay, Miller Moss is the guy at USC, and Malachi Nelson was there and was the #1 overall recruit coming out of high school. Why didn't he think he could win that job? Or was it just not a fit with Lincoln Riley? You could have that conversation, right?
There seems to be a lot of smoke to this being Lincoln Riley's possible last year at USC.
I think there was a pass given there.
Yeah.
Then when Boise State was the landing spot, the alarm bells started going off a little bit like, whoa, hold on a minute. Shouldn't this guy be going to a Power 4 school?
The one thing that I will say that I think is always a possibility in this situation is what if he's hurt and they're protecting him? That's I don't think that's the case here, but I will never rule that out.
Because the reports were that Maddox Madsen won the quarterback.
That's how it was reported. He won the job. Correct.
Yeah. So this is even more alarm bells. And maybe this guy just doesn't have it.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. Dan?
Hello, Jays boys.
What's
Hi.
up, bud?
Kristen Baronsalt.
That's not her name. Try that one more time.
It's Kirsten.
Kirsten Barenthal Booth and her Jays have been picked to win the Big East this season.
Close enough.
Buy or sell that the Jays will be the queens of the Big East by the end of their season.
Buy. I think they're the best team. I think they return enough. I think they are going. Not only do I think they win the Big East, I think they win the Big East convincingly.
Turn it up to 11 because the Jays will win their 11th straight Big East title this season. You'll get to hear me call a few of the matches.
There you go. Dan?
I too agree.
Do we need to ask you how to pronounce Hideki Matsuyama through the rest of the show as well?
You almost screwed it up.
To be fair, I avoided all of the Hideki Matsuyama yesterday.
That's a good point.
He won over the weekend.
He did. You were right.
Good call.
No coach, no nothing. He said, I got a fire in my belly. But
Dan,
it is time.
It is.
It's random Dan time.
For the best time of the night.
Dan,
the random Dan question.
Dan, you have a new job. When we get to we need a Michael Buffer It's Time drop. And you have to play that before you.
That's Bruce.
Sorry. What did I say? Michael Buffer. That's his brother.
That's
he does boxing.
That's
yeah,
a different one. He's got a different catchphrase. Yeah, we can't say it.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to pay a lot of money. Yeah, you have to do Bruce Buffers. It's time.
We need a random Dan open.
Okay, we can make that happen.
That's all we need. We just need Michael or Bruce Buffer going. It's time.
Random Dan question of the night. Just days after saying you guys shouldn't be asking for more money. Well, turns out Oklahoma State is now linking a helmet QR code to their NIL fund. Buy or sell that either the university or Mike Gundy need to get on the same page.
Buy. I mean, it's a very confusing message, but at the same point, your head coach is giving the wrong message. So, hammer, absolutely.
Mike Gundy's just one of those guys who can't help it. He can't help it. Like, he grows a mullet. He can't help it. He wears an One American News Network shirt. He can't help it. He puts his foot in his mouth and tells players, stop asking for more money. We got a QR code on our helmets for the NIL fund. Like, come on. The joke writes itself, man.
Okay, and then I got to follow this up with
Can him and Dabo Swinney do a podcast? That's all I want.
It would be, no. Please.
It
would just be too much dumb good old boy talk.
I would hate watch it, and it would be great.
So I got to ask one thing though. Why are you doing this? Not like just at Oklahoma State. Why would any university do this? Put a QR code on the back of the helmet.
It is a really stupid place to put it. I agree.
Because number one, the players are too far away from the stands for you to effectively scan a QR code.
And it's on the back.
With a phone. Are you expecting people to be tuning in Kansas?
All right, honey, get ready to pause it. The QR code's going to come up here.
Oh, man.
I like Oklahoma State, John. This might be my new favorite.
This Oklahoma State game is so good. I should donate to these guys' NIL fund. They're hardworking American citizens.
Touchdown Cowboys. Hey, get the QR code out. We're going to donate some money to the quarterback.
It is a weird spot to put it in. I always thought
$7 for that touchdown.
I always thought what Gus Malzahn did in the spring game of 21, where he had their social media tags on the back of their jerseys as opposed to their last names.
Their Twitter handles.
Well, some of them was their Instagram too.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a trend that we saw happen in real games. And I'm still doubling down. I still think that eventually becomes a thing where it's like, want to donate to this player? Here, his tips are open on Twitter. Here's his handle.
His nameplate is just a QR code to his YouTube channel.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I wanted to get to this level. Hey, if you missed Dan's random question of the night, want to know what the new open's going to sound like, check it out. SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620, wherever you may find your podcast at. It was brought to you by our friends at Pepper Jack's Grill. Man, if you're hungry tonight, there may not be a better option, not only in the city of Omaha, the state of Nebraska, or even the world, than a Pepper Jack's Grill. You can stop by, grab yourself a steak gunner Philly. You can grab a chicken rice bowl. I throw grilled onions, mushrooms, green peppers on top of mine, a little bit of spicy ranch to top it off. It's a chef's kiss good. You're going to not regret stopping by Pepper Jack's tonight, one of the 10 great locations throughout the Omaha area. Tell them After Hours sent you. We'll be right back telling you who will, won't, or should get a single-digit jersey in Lincoln next year. 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Williams Law. If you or your loved ones have been wrongfully accused of a crime, if you've got a legal situation that's pending that you don't think is being represented fully in the way that you would like, or maybe you just have some questions that aren't being answered, then you need to get a hold of Bob at Williams Law. Give him a call at 402-522-6317. Let him walk you through the process, how the legal system is going to work in your specific situation, whether that's a DUI, whether it's some sort of civil situation, whatever it may be. Bob's got the expertise and the answers to your question. He's going to give you a free, no obligation legal consultation and give you the best representation possible depending on what your needs are. You can check out williamslawllc.com and get yourself signed up for a free, no obligation legal consultation from Bob at Williams Law.
$7.18 on a Tuesday night here on 16th One of the Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Listen, you don't become the number one roofer in Omaha for over a decade by accident. If you want to go with local and go with trusted, go with Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Book yourself a free estimate today. It's time for Will, Won't, Should. Obviously, we talked about it earlier in the show. The single-digit jerseys have been handed out today in Lincoln, but they're going to be handed out next year, too. And we're going to tell you who will, won't, or should be given one of these numbers next season. I'm going to start off with won't.
Oh.
And I kind of went all-encompassing here, but I don't think a running back of – obviously, there's going to be a few that aren't going to be available next year that are going to be here this year, but I don't think anybody at that position will earn that spot next season.
Okay. So mine is a little different concept here.
Okay.
I think we've had a really like over the 2 years.
I'm listing individuals for all my other spots.
Yeah.
I'm just going all encompassing.
Yeah, I understand. For this one, I think Nebraska's had like in the last 2 years, you've had a middle linebacker who's among the group that has a single digit, right?
Sure.
It's John Bullock this year.
See, but I think I don't think it's because he's the middle linebacker. I just think he's that dude.
Right. And that's why like next year, all signs point to Mekhi Bayor being that guy at middle linebacker. I don't know if he gets a single digit though, because I don't know that there's going to be enough to go around next year.
Yeah, and this feels like you have to earn it over time type thing. We're not giving this to somebody for a one-season performance. But with that being said, Jamal Banks is the only guy on that side of the ball.
But he's also a senior.
True. That's a good point. Who's your won't?
Mekhi Bayor.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Who all signs point to him being the guy at middle linebacker next year.
Sure.
I just don't know if there's going to be enough to go around to make it a three-peat at middle linebacker getting a single digit.
Dan, did you participate tonight? I didn't ask you this.
I did. I did kind of.
Okay.
Take all
almost
of my...
like you kind of turned your microphone on there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So take all of my picks with a grain of salt because my will is a bit out of left field, to be honest. I kind of think that Elliott Brown is my will for next year.
Okay, we're doing won'ts, but
won'ts. Okay, well, hey, we can go won't. We can go won't. Grant Bricks won't for sure.
yeah. I think that's fair.
I don't think.
I don't know if I can say for sure.
That.
I don't know if you could say of the talented freshmen you're going to have this year. I don't know if you could say. I mean, I think it's about 90% that you're never going to have a freshman be it, but they're all going to be at least redshirt or sophomores.
I'm going to be 100% honest. The won't is probably the hardest category.
Sure.
Because I'm like, who's going to, it's like
who's going to be good but not get it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a year by year basis where it's like who's going to emerge as one of the now not 10 vocal leaders who's outside of the single digit group right now. Who we think will be, the one person who might get kicked out a little bit.
We'll go to should then. And I think we're probably all going to universally have the same answer here. It should be Dylan Raiola. I mean, to me, it's the most obvious answer. He's a freshman this year, which has got probably everything to do with why he didn't. I mean, if he is everything that he is supposed to be, and I think he is, and I believe he is, this coaching staff seems to be lockstep in that same thought. Dylan Raiola should be one of your 1 through 9s next year.
It's not unanimous.
Okay.
I'm saying Jalen Lloyd. Jalen Lloyd has all the talent and ability in the world.
Agreed.
He's
going to be behind a lot of dudes.
He has a chance this year to really insert himself into the offense in a way that none of the other young wide receivers really have an opportunity to.
I agree.
I think he should be able to do that, which should put him in line to be one of those dudes to get a single digit next year.
I agree with everything you just said, but I have to ask this. Has the NCAA video game influenced your answer at all?
I have not played a game with Nebraska on that game.
I haven't either, and I've just heard that Jalen Lloyd is like the most broken player in the game. So
that is what I've heard as well. I have not played any NCAA.
Who should get a single digit jersey next year, Dan?
Can I go category on this one?
You sure can.
Because depending upon who...
Only if you say it's middle linebacker to prove John wrong.
Depending upon who leaves school coming up here, I honestly think either Nate Borkacher or Thomas Fidone
Ooh, that's a good point.
Should be one of your 2 single digits next year. They both play a tremendous role in this offense. I am actually a little bit surprised. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit.
Fidone wasn't on this list.
Mildly surprised that one of them didn't get it this year.
Yeah, me too.
Just considering with how crucial they are to this offense
and how much Matt Rule loves him some Thomas Fidone.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, there's only 10 to go around.
Yeah.
And 9 of them went to the defense.
Yep.
Which, to be fair, I'm perfectly fine with.
That tracks.
I have
the math is mathing.
I have already said it earlier. I have zero problem with the list this year. I wonder if this upcoming year we're going to see a more offense heavy single-digit stack. And I do think it should go to someone in that tight end room.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be surprised if next year they don't try to do a 5-5 split, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's one of those things that when you do only have this limited number, and I think they're going to backlash probably isn't the right word, but probably have a little bit of regret about not giving out more to the offensive side because every talking head in the state is going to be talking about that. I have 3 guys.
Oh,
even though there's going to be 10 jerseys, I have 3 guys.
You have 3 locks.
Absolute locks, by the way. I think Ja'Cory Barney is going to be that guy this season where everybody goes, whoo, we got something here. And then Prince Will and Cam Lenhard, I think are going to be the guys that we look at, like we look at Nash and Ty this season, as the guys that are going to be the vocal leaders and be the tone setters on that side of the ball next year.
It's interesting.
Okay.
My will is Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, okay.
I just, look, he's going to be the starting quarterback, and he's going to be the starting quarterback next year.
Jeff Sims was famously a single-digit guy last year.
Can you have your sophomore starting quarterback in his second year not be a single-digit guy?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't either. That's why he should be.
And that's why I think he will be.
Okay. Dan?
Will, I already spoiled the fun earlier.
Yeah.
Elliott Brown.
All right.
And it's simply because, number one, Matt Rule is already putting him in front of the media.
Yeah, they've been pumping him hard on the chasing 3.
Yep, and making him chat. I think, again, kind of goes back to the tight end conversation that I just had. He plays such an odd and special role in this offense.
Good point.
And I think we're going to see him in such a weird way this year that it's going to kind of solidify him just a little bit. Smart guy, understands the program. Obviously, Nebraska guy.
Yeah.
From here.
Elkhorn South.
That seems to be a big deal too, by the way.
Always helps. And I think he's going to, I'm not saying this is the only reason Isaac Gifford got it, but I'm seeing him as kind of an Isaac Gifford role where he's kind of the inspirer and is the one who's saying to all the guys on the team, it means more when you're from here. When this is the thing that everyone from, literally January until late August, early September looks forward to and marks on their calendars and shakes in their boots to wear their red for. It just means more. And I think Elliott Brown's going to be the kind of Isaac Gifford-ish pick next year.
I'm going to go completely out of right field here and ask you guys a question completely off topic. Does Muppet Herbie make it past 2024?
Muppet Herbie?
The current iteration of the mascot. That is absolutely awful.
What? He's not awful.
He looks like an oversized Jim Henson character.
Oh, no. Come on.
I kind of miss
Whoa. Are you trying to tell me you like the current iteration of Herbie Husker?
I don't hate him.
Oh, I hate it. It's awful.
Can I just say one thing that has been my thought ever since I moved here and will always be my thought until probably my dying breath, and probably could actually be my dying breath. Little Red over Herbie Husker. Any day of the week, including Saturday.
Dan, you've been the producer of this show for 2 years.
Yep.
That is the worst take you've ever had. And I need you to understand something. It's not even close.
Little Red is the superior mascot.
That is the worst take. I will double down. That's the worst take that's ever been uttered on this station.
No, you said Mike Trout was a bust.
And it's not even close.
He's got tiny overalls, a sideways cap, and he's a blow-up. What is better?
Everything you just mentioned is awful.
Better?
Everything you just mentioned is awful. I'm sorry I even asked my question.
Bring back handsome Herbie.
I would take metrosexual.
John Bishop calls him metrosexual.
I would take
Herbie.
metrosexual Herbie over the current iteration, and I never thought I would say that. If you missed our topic about jerseys and mascots, check it out, soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. You can hear Dan Campen and have awful takes there any time of day. It was brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Maybe we need to talk to our friends at 78th Dodge to hook Herbie up with a suit, because it's the best suit buying experience in the Midwest. They've also got everything you need to be dressed better than Herbie Husker at 78th Dodge at Jerry Ryan. Stop in. You can grab a polo from Johnny O. You can grab a vest from Mizzen and Maine. They've got all the options that your closet needs for game day this fall. Stop by Jerry Ryan, 78th and Dodge. Get your closet ready for game day. They've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. We're catching up with the head warrior himself, Paul Lamanji, and the Westside football team in studio. We come back here at 1620 The Zone.
Hello, everybody. It is Dan Campanen here, and my takes might be bad, but you know what's never bad? My stomach pain due to my appetite, because I know that there are 10 great local locations of Pepper Jack's Grill within reach wherever I am in the city of Omaha. So if you want to be just like me, get your steak gunner Philly with all of the vegetables, including that jalapeno juice to make it extra spicy. And get the fries on the side, add that ranch. It's going to make the best possible thing. But you can always get a salad too. They offer that at Pepper Jack's. If you have a vegetarian fiance, you can always get a salad as well. Just make sure that you stop by any one of Pepper Jack's 10 great local locations as soon as possible and pick up lunch or pick up dinner.
7:36 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com, book a free estimate, work with the number one roofer in Omaha for 13 years in a row. The head football coach of the Omaha West Side Warriors, Paul Amanji, joins us in studio. Coach, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
When we talk about rebuilding, it's kind of a dirty word in sports, but you guys lost a ton of talent a year ago. When you look at the coaching job that was ahead of you this offseason, did you get a smile across your face in the work that you're going to have to put in to kind of make this thing a new image?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We knew going in that it was going to be a new team, a new journey, but we knew we had enough guys that, we could really get after it and make our own story. And, we have a lot of experience coming back, but also we have some new guys who are excited for the challenge and to elevate their play. And we just can't wait for every day to happen. And the season's going to be, challenging, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're really looking forward to it.
Coach, you've been around the game for a long time. Obviously spent some time at Burke. You make the move over to West Side. Is there anything different about doing it this year than in the years past?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, any time you start a new season, there's just different expectations because you got new guys and the philosophy usually stays the same, but you just try to reinvent yourself every year. So it doesn't matter if you're coming back from a great year or an average year or not so good year. You just want to come back and be the best you can be. So this year, is no exception. We have a lot of good guys on our team and coming back from, back-to-back state championships is great, but we kind of leave that in the past or try to, and just try to focus on today and in the present and, the challenges that are ahead of us. And we preach that early on in January, and by the time the season starts, you really formulate a good team, and you're just focused on what lies ahead, and you just want to, do the best you can and get better each day and play your best football in November and see what happens. So I've always taken that same approach, but any time you come back from, being back-to-back state champs, it's a different feel, and we just want to make sure that we continue to hunt, and that we stay hungry. And I think our guys are doing that.
Speaking of philosophies, it's obviously different for each head coach. You guys are 9 days away from the opener against Omaha North. When do you flip the calendar in your mind from preseason camp to game preparation for game one?
Yeah, we'll do it Friday. We got to finish up fall camp. We have 2 big days left. And then come Friday, we're focused on opponent number one, and we know it's going to be a great challenge for us. But I think we're excited for that. It's our first game, and we're at home, and it's a Thursday night. So that change of time and the switch is going to be happening quick. But we got 2 big days left, and we're always focused on what lies right ahead. We want to lift hard tomorrow morning. We want to have a great practice tomorrow afternoon. We want to scrimmage well on Thursday, and then, start thinking about, our opponent and see what happens. And in this, never waste a day or a second.
In fall camp, this is something that's interesting to me. When you're talking about, losing a lot, you got to replace that production from a year ago. Obviously, when you're evaluating players, you're looking for the guys who can play the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guys who you think can produce. What are some of maybe those intangible things that you're looking for when you're evaluating players for starting jobs?
Yeah, so we need guys that fit our culture, and usually about this time of year, you're either in or you're out, because it's just too hard to be a part of what we do if you don't totally buy into, what we're about. So we want guys that believe in our culture, but we also want tough kids, and we need guys that are willing to be extremely physical. We want guys that are, attention to detail oriented, that play for each other and know the bigger purpose of what we're trying to do. So we always talk about being relentless and going as hard as we can and supporting each other. So you got to have all those intangibles to be successful for us. And I think day by day and rep by rep, we get that. But we like to tell our guys, we take the hard road. We don't have any shortcuts. It's not real easy to play for Westside. But when it's all said and done, our guys know that games are won in empty stadiums, and we're looking forward to next Thursday.
Well, let's talk to some of those guys that seem to be bought in, and one of them seems to be sweating more than anybody. It's Johnny Hurtado, who walks up to the mic to join us tonight. Johnny, when you look at your guys' your room specifically in the linebacker spot, and you talk about you and Christian and Blake Kiefer and Quentin Warren, what do you want this defense's reputation to be this season, other than being sweaty?
I think we want to continue the reputation of just being the most physical team, establishing like that no one can run on us before we start like moving on, like make sure that no team can run on us.
Who do you think has been the biggest influence on you as a football player to this point in your life?
I would say my uncle. He kind of got me into football.
His name is
Uncle Mike Hurley.
Shout out to Mike Hurley.
And he passed away a couple years ago.
Sure.
So I always kept working because he kind of got me into sports, kind of helped me become where I am now.
Can't help walk by West Side practice without a thumb and a pinky sticking out. What does effort and toughness mean to you?
It really it's a lifestyle. Everything you do is just like you attack it with everything you have. There's no reason to go half on anything. Like whatever you do, it should be 100% of what you have.
What about you personally? Where have you improved your game this offseason?
My speed and my quickness and change of direction. I think I'm playing at a way faster level than I did last year, and I think I have to be able to take the role that I want to have this year.
Awesome. What are your plans for after high school?
I just plan on going to college, maybe doing some engineering, but no football.
Maybe doing some engineering, just a little bit of engineering.
Yeah.
Why is engineering the path for you?
Both my brothers are in it, and I'm not good at reading or writing, so and I'm good at math and science.
Sure. There you go.
Johnny, thanks for being here tonight, man. We appreciate it. We'll go over to Kenny Cotton, who joins us in studio. Speaking of loaded rooms, I mean, yourself, Eli Johnson, Christian's going to help at tight end this year, and you guys obviously add Mo Purified Jr. and Bryson Williams to that room. How good can this group be this year?
I feel like we could be even better than last year. Like this year we're more like true receivers, not just people playing the position.
Sure.
Like last year, most of the guys were just their primary position was on defense. So I feel like this year we're actual true receivers.
You guys have had a lot of good wide receivers come through Westside in recent years. What do you think you have to do to be the next one?
I feel like just being a leader, just for the young guys, and then just keep improving myself every day.
You've picked up your first offer from North Dakota State. What does the recruiting process look like for you up until this point?
It's still pretty slow, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm just worried about this season.
All right. You knew this question was coming, right? You come from a family of fast guys. Who's actually the fastest? Is it you, KJ, or Kenzo?
You're the only one with a microphone right now.
I feel like after this year, you'll definitely know.
Okay.
All right. Betting on himself. I like it.
When you win 2 consecutive state championships, it's probably hard to think about anything less than that. What defines success for you this season?
Not really worried about like where we end up finishing. Just when the season ends, like just know like you gave everything you had, and just playing for each other and just going all out every play.
Well, thanks for being here tonight, man. We greatly appreciate it. We'll go over and talk to Christian Jones, who joins us in studio. Christian, for you, when we talk about being a leader on this team, it's kind of a place that you've been in it for a couple of years. How does your leadership role this year change as a senior?
Yeah, I mean, last year we lost a lot of really, really good seniors, like, Teddy, Anthony, Caleb, and all of them. And this year we kind of just had to fulfill that role, being vocal, keeping the urgency, keeping everyone together, and holding everyone to the West Side standard, and holding everyone to our ET culture.
There's been a ton of attention on you since you were a freshman in high school, starting at Burke. Mm-hmm. What's been the most difficult thing for you away from football?
I would just say being consistent and not letting complacency come to collect.
I'd
say that's just, it's really easy to not go all out or think it's okay. I don't have the meal prep this day, or I'm too tired. I don't have to put my clothes out the next day. But I'd say the hardest thing is not becoming complacent.
The class of 25 has had a ton of success up until this point, whether it be the football team or just any sport, really across the West Side campus. What would it mean to not just you, not just this football team, but the class of 25 to win a third state championship in a row? And has that been discussed at all?
I mean, we're not really discussing going to the state championship right now. We just discussed that we want to spend the most time together as much as possible. And we're really only worried about going up that next step of our mountain. And we're not really focused on that end goal yet. We're taking one step at a time.
You kind of done it all, man. You got state titles, you got individual accolades. What's left for you? What are you most excited for this season?
I would say just having no regrets and being a leader on the team and really working on my leadership skills and just having fun, really just making high school memorable, I would say.
Do you think there's any chance you could play football at the next level?
Unlike Johnny, I'm not that good at math or science. So I think I might be playing football.
Hey,
so.
All right, man.
Christian, thanks for being here, man. We greatly appreciate it. Good luck this fall. We'll go over to Connor Wayne, who joins us in studio as well. Connor, for you, what has been the biggest adjustment for you personally from last season to this offseason heading into next Friday?
I feel like I had like the crutch of having, the seniors ahead of me to kind of tell me how to do everything and how to make sure everything goes correctly. And now that's me, it's my job to do that for the younger guys.
Has it been a weird adjustment for you?
I mean, there's always a learning process to
Sure.
that, just like anything. And I feel like, I'm just catching on and just trying to do the best that I can, for those younger guys.
Back in May, you hit 385 on bench. And I'm not sure if there's a question in there. I just wanted to say it out loud. 385 pounds on bench press. That's pretty impressive. I guess, what did it take to get you to that point?
Well, Coach Lamanji always pushing me in the weight room. Seems like every single set I have, he just walks over and I just know he's watching me. I'm like, can't fail this rep.
Can he catch you on the bench?
I think he could.
You're off to Wayne State. You're off to Wayne State. Why Wayne State? And was it a big deal for you to get your commitment out of the way before the season started?
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to find a place that felt like home, and like that's what Wayne was for me. And then I felt like they were great to me before the season, and it's just like, why wait till during the season? It's just something that can kind of stress you out, and I want to focus on my senior football season.
As an offensive lineman, what's fun about playing in this West Side offense?
We like to run the ball.
That's it. That's it.
When we talk about the next level, and obviously football is going to be a big part of that, do you know what you plan on studying when you get to Wayne?
Both my parents were teachers, so hopefully I think that's something I want to do. Then come back, coach somewhere. Hopefully.
Sure. All right. Well, hey, thanks for being here tonight, man. Congratulations on all the success. Good luck at Wayne. Good luck this season. Coach, we'll go back over to you to wrap this up. When we watched this year's team compared to the last two, what will be different about this iteration of West Side's football team?
I think, you're going to see guys that play with an edge. Not that we didn't play with one last year, but it'll be a different type of edge, a different type of hunger. You're going to see a relentless group, a hungry group that maybe thinks that there's nothing left, and they're going to play with a little bit of an edge to them. And I think they're going to play fast, and they're going to play confident, and they're going to hold each other accountable to that standard. And we got a bunch of great kids, and I think they're excited about the challenges that we're going to face this year too. I mean, not everything's going to be sunshine and roses, and I think they're just a group to handle anything that comes our way. So I think you're going to see a team that plays with tremendous energy, some violence, some tenacity, and they're going to make people proud.
I want to touch on the sunshines and roses thing for a sec, because I think from the outside looking in, when you look at the group of gentlemen you brought in, you look at back-to-back state championships, and you look at the facilities that Westside has, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It probably from the 10,000-foot view looks that way, but what is the toughest part about being the head football coach at Omaha Westside?
Well, you're always on the clock. It's
sure.
It's 24/7.
Thanks, Tom Kirkman.
You're always kind of have something that you're focused on, and you want to make sure, everything's going well, and you worry about, you got 100 and so guys that you care for, and you want to make sure that they're taken care of. So you're always looking out for them, and we kind of do things all year round, and we always have something coming up, and it's always about what's next. And it's not that it's challenging, but it's bittersweet some days.
Sure.
Some days you pound your head against the wall and say, what am I doing? And then other days you're proud as heck and you love it. So those days definitely outweigh the tougher ones.
Is eating pulled pork in the cafeteria, pounding your head against the wall moment, or is that a good one?
Yeah, we didn't even get to eat much. So the parents took care of us. I have a box in the truck, so
sure,
I might be eating on the way home.
We got some wings from Cunningham's if you'd like some too.
Good. Yeah, we'll take them.
So 1 rep max bench press next time you're in?
I can probably put up some bench. I have those short arms. So
I
was always kind of decent in bench. So
all right.
I don't know if I could quite do that much weight anymore, but
I know I could.
we know you're hungry. You got some food to eat. I'll get you out on this one with the talent in the Metro that we've seen. It just kind of feels like everybody is getting better. Why do you think we've just kind of seen this gradual improvement just across the city of Omaha?
Yeah, it's just I think it's trendy. I think there's a lot. High school football in the Metro has. I got here in 1997, and it seemed like it increased every year, and I think the talent level has increased, and the number of great teams has increased, and it could be you get a lot of people moving to Omaha. You get a lot of people moving in from other cities across the country, and it seems like you get a lot of Huskers guys that played in the 90s, their kids. It seems like
you had a few of those, huh?
Yeah. So you just, I don't know. Hopefully it continues to elevate, but it's great football. I mean, I come from an area that has great high school football, and this is really, gaining ground over the years. So I hope it stays that way.
Well, Coach, as always, we greatly appreciate your time, and thanks for stopping by tonight. That was Paul Omanji, the head football coach over at Omaha Westside. If you missed him and his Warriors segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620 or wherever you may find your podcast. That it was brought to you by our friend Amber Best with Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate. If you're looking for your forever home, we have found it for you. There's a quaint townhome out in Fremont that you can check out tonight by heading over to amberbest.com. That's BESS.com tonight. It's 2206 Aaron Way in Fremont. Check out amberbest.com for more details tonight. Thank you to the Omaha Westside football team for stopping by. We also caught up with our friend Derek Richards from Cunningham's Pub, as well as Tom White, the head coach of the Bellevue University women's soccer team as well. If you missed any of it, check it out wherever you find your podcast at or 1620thezone.com. For Dan Campen and John Schreiner, I've been Jimmy Allen. You've been listening to us. You've been celebrating correctly. It's National Radio Day. Go out and enjoy.